Tip number 20, stop avoiding your finances. Now, some of us that are experiencing some financial difficulties can avoid facing the clear picture of where we are. And that looks like not opening your banking app to check what's in there and what's going out, not opening letters, or pretending that we're okay when we're not, going out with friends and paying for things that we can't afford. And this can also add to our financial situation getting worse. So we need to ensure that we're not avoiding where we are. If we're not in a good place, we're not in a good place. And again, seek help. Don't suffer in silence. Seek help. Please seek help. Don't suffer in silence. We can do this as a community. There are charities out there that can help. Please, please, please. You can get out of the situation, but you have to face where you are and understand that things need to change. So, an action to take away here is just look at your past 30 days of spending and just get a feel of where your money's going. Understand what you're spending your money in without judgment, without comparison. Just look at where your money's going and just understand. And that's one thing you will know more than you didn't know before. And hopefully, you can take a step further. Ensure, open every letter that you get. Stop avoiding the things that you need to have clarity on to be able to fix it. Tip 21 goes hand in hand with the previous tip, but again, with the avoidance, is just get an understanding of where your money's going, what's coming in, what's going out. And that's it. Just get used to that. The more you know, the more you can do to change things. Tip 22, your payday routine. Now, most of us get paid, the money stays in an account, and then we just go about our month. You need to have a good payday routine, and I've touched on bits here and there in the tips earlier, but here is your tip payday routine. And what this does is it protects the money that you shouldn't be touching that will go to your essential costs. It protects your future self and ensures that you're investing into your future. And it also gives you a clear number on what you are able to spend in that current month. You get paid, and then the first thing that should happen is within the first 24 to 48 hours, a standing order should be set to transfer your survival amount to a separate pot or separate account. Your second action is that another standing order should be set, again, 24 to 48 hours after you get paid, to come out to go into your buffer. And then there should be a third standing order that's coming out of your account that will transfer the amount to go into your emergency fund, which again can be another pot or a different account. Using direct debits as well for all your essential costs, set them up so they come out 24 to 48 hours after you get paid. This then just takes out the manual labor, the manual work, and you doing it and having to be in the right frame of mind to do it every single month. This also takes away the temptation of you spending money that you shouldn't be spending and ensuring that the money that should be going to your livelihood is going to your livelihood. The money that's going to your future self is going to your future self. And the money that's going to your essential cost is going to your essential cost. You should always do it in this order: that your essential cost, your survival number is covered, buffer is covered, emergency fund covered, then livelihood, then your lifestyle. Lifestyle comes last, unfortunately. Tip 23, evaluate. The important thing is any system that you use, especially on a variable income, needs to be evaluated regularly. We are in an industry where our money does not stay the same. It's quite volatile. It can go up and it can go down. So that means that we need to be reviewing the system that we use regularly to ensure that it's still fit for purpose. Now, this doesn't mean system's not working, remove it, use a different system. It just means evaluate and adjust what needs to be adjusted so that we can still continue live our life and ensure that everything that needs to be paid gets paid. An action to take away on this tip is set an evaluation day. Same date on every month where you look at your system. So you look at your standing orders, you look at your subscriptions, you look at your buffer, you look at your progress, and you evaluate what's working, what's not working. Everything's not going to be the same for everyone. Everyone's got different circumstances. You might be on a weekly pay, you might be on a monthly pay. So if you're paid weekly, you might have to do the system a little bit more. If you're paid monthly, then obviously you can do it monthly. And if you're in consultancy work and you get paid quarterly, then again, it will just adjust. But you do need to keep evaluating your system, evaluating what's coming in, evaluating what's coming out, evaluating if your standing orders are coming out at the right time, your direct debits are coming out at the right time. Are we missing any? Is there any leaks? What subscriptions? Reviewing that regularly. We always need to be reviewing where we are. As we grow and we become more stable, it will become even more important to ensure that our system is evolving with us, because where we start at the beginning, it's not going to be necessarily exactly the same where we end up. So evaluate every month, every week, or every quarter, depending on how frequent your payday is. 24, cook in bulk. This is when you will cook a lot of food and portion it out and either freeze it or put it in the fridge, which will then stop you from having to buy food every single day. That becomes expensive. This is part 3, protect what you have built. Tip number 25, comparison is a killer. Now, we live in an age where social media is inevitable. It's everywhere. We look around, people can buy now, pay later, people have credit cards, people can get things on finances. So we're looking around at people, seeing a luxury life, seeing people with designer, and we might be looking at ourselves thinking, I can't afford these things, not knowing the full extent of someone else's financial situation. It can put us in a depression where we feel less than, we feel inferior, and then we start giving that kind of self-identity that we're not good enough. And you are good enough, because we don't know what the situation is for other people. We don't know how they've got the things that they have unless you have spoken to them. And we can't judge our life on others because we haven't lived exactly the same life as them. They haven't lived exactly the same life as us. We all are on our own journey, and we're all unique and special in our own way. And we all have the ability to make our circumstances that little bit better. It might not be a massive jump, but we can do little things. And that's all I want you to do, is to do little things. So don't compare yourself to the people that you see on Instagram and Facebook, people that you see in the street that you don't know. You don't know how they got the things they got. All you need to focus on is where you are, where you were 3 months ago, where you are now, where you're going to be in 6 months. Compare yourself to yourself. That is the only comparison that you truly can do, is comparing yourself to yourself, because you're the only one that's lived your life. You're the only one that's taken the path that you've taken. You're the only one in the circumstances, down to the detail, that you're in. So one thing I did was look online and just feel less than, or why don't I have this? Why can't I do this? Why is always being bad? And it did me no good. Then when I started looking at my own comparison, then I started seeing the small wins that most people don't talk about, small wins that most people don't care to advertise because it's not big enough to get the 1,000 likes. Just me saving £5 for the first time of having zero savings for years was an accomplishment. To get from one paycheck, to get from one payday to the next payday and still have £5 in my account, that was a small achievement. And I was treating it like one, not looking at it as like a failure or I'm not good as. I've done something better than I was doing. So that means I am taking a step forward. So cut out anything that is causing you to compare yourself to other people and focus on comparing yourself. So another action I want you to walk away is, I will only compare myself to myself. And write a list of your micro wins. As small, it doesn't matter how small it is. Get a diary, get a journal, and start writing down your micro wins and celebrate them. And again, be careful with the monetary celebration because you don't want to fall back into bad habits, but celebrate your micro wins. If you did 5 push-ups today, and that's 5 more than you've ever done in your life, celebrate it. Then if you do 6, celebrate that one extra push up. If you save £1 and you've got £1 in your account more than you've ever had before on payday, celebrate it. Celebrate your micro wins because you are your biggest cheerleader. You will be your biggest cheerleader for the rest of your life. Stop relying on other people to give that to you. Stop expecting you to look at other people and down talk yourself and think that's going to benefit you in any way. It's not. It's going to make you feel worse. So please, 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 only compare yourself to yourself. Put it on a post-it note, put it on your mirror in the bathroom, wherever you look every day, and then get a little journal and write down all your micro wins, no matter how small it is, no matter how tiny, write it down. Tip 26, emotional spending. Stop emotionally spending. I did this so much. Every time I had a bad moment, let me go get I'm gonna get some sweet stuff. Everything I deserve because I'm having a bad day. I'm having a bad week. I'm gonna spend. Okay, yes, we need to ensure we can uplift ourselves, but can we do it without spending money? Let's try doing that first. There's so many different things we can do. Maybe go for a walk, talk to someone that uplifts our mood, cook a meal for ourselves, treat yourself in that way. What's your favorite movie again? Like, try and do something that doesn't cost money before spending money because it can be a kind of dangerous cycle. You feel down, you spend money. You don't have money now, you feel down, you spend more money. Like, just get away from that money's going to give me happiness. You give yourself happiness, and most things that give us happiness do not have a monetary value. So let's look at that first. So an action to take away is I want you to write 3 things that don't cost any money that you can do that gives you some kind of joy or makes you happy, whether it be taking a long soak in the bath, hot chocolate, watching a movie, speaking to a family or friend that always makes you laugh. Write down 3 things that you can do that doesn't cost you that will lift your mood. Tip 27, stop gifting like you're Santa. Again, like do not lend what you can't afford to lose. When Christmas comes, birthday comes, any special occasion, I was so guilty of this, going above and beyond on the gift that I was getting the person. It was like a really bad habit. Having that kind of warm feeling that I've just got this amazing gift for someone that's they're gonna love and it's amazing, but it's cost me an arm and a leg, and it doesn't make sense. Like, gift within reason, like have a budget, make sure that you're not eating into essential funds to give a gift to someone. If the people around you love you, they shouldn't be expecting you to kill yourself financially to gift them. And if they do, then either they don't know your circumstances and they've got used to, or they're not really for you. And again, there could be different reasons, but you need to protect yourself and your financial future. So when you're gifting, please do it within reason. So an action to take away is to give yourself a budget that you will spend. Maybe break it down to the different people. So your mum, your dad, your sister, your brother, your friends, and they might have different budgets depending on their closeness to you. But just give a budget and just make sure that when you go out and buy the gift, you don't break that budget. You don't give yourself a budget of £20 and see something for 50 and buy it because the emotional drag to buy that thing because they're gonna love it. Buy within what you can afford to buy. Tip 28, live within your means. Live within your means. Now, this goes back to your survival number because this is a number that we can't just change like that. These are essential costs. And sometimes that's the first thing that we do need to start looking at, because when we work out our survival number and the lowest possible income we could receive, it doesn't even cover the survival number. So then we need to start looking how we're living. Are we living in a 2-bedroom flat on an income that can only afford a studio? Are we shopping? Are we shopping in the most expensive supermarket on an income that only can afford on a lower price point for our food shopping? We need to start looking at the fundamentals and living within our means. This is exactly what it means. And again, like I said, it's not something that we can change overnight because we're tied into contracts, leases, etc. But we need to start reviewing competitive pricing when it comes to gas, electric. We need to ensure that we're always at the best price point and not just take the price as the price, or I'm living in here because it looks good and it feels. We need to start understanding what are we getting and how are we living, and does it match up? Because how can we improve the way we live if how we're living now is draining us from even making one step forward into the direction that we want to take? So break down your survival number and start looking, is this within the means of the income that I'm receiving? Am I living in an apartment, a studio, a room, a house that makes sense for the income I'm making? And usually your rent is your biggest expense. And sometimes just downsizing to a realistic place to live will give you a bit more breathing room. Again, it goes back to keeping up with the Joneses, comparison, impressing people, caring what people think when they come. Like, you need to look after yourself. You need to look after yourself. So live where you can manage to live and stop doing things for the validation of other people, because the only person that's going to suffer is you, because you cannot afford to live in a place. And most likely, if you're living in a place that's more expensive, the utilities are more expensive, the council tax is more expensive. Maybe you had to live further away from what, I don't know what the circumstances, but start looking at your survival number and each category closely and actually ask yourself, is this living within my means when I look at the income that I'm getting, especially the lowest one? And if it's not, this is the time now. Time to start making the plan to reduce some of those costs. And then again, it's slow, it's one thing at a time. We're not talking about we're not talking about instant transformation. We're talking about a transformation from this day, from today to this time next year. We want to see some movement in that kind of time frame, not now to tomorrow. Tip 29, maintain your relationships and health. And this kind of goes back to stop chasing more money. When we are in a situation where we want to improve our financial situation, so we need to ensure that we're not stripping back our fundamental needs to survive. So for instance, our health is very important. And if you are scraping back on your expenses, it doesn't mean surviving on bread for a month to make a financial win, because you need your nutrition. You need to ensure that you're also feeding the basics like your health, are you exercising, are you eating correctly, and as well maintaining the important relationships in your life, that you're not isolating yourself or you're not overworking all the overtime in the world just to get more money, and then you're not keeping the connections that give you life and the people that support you and give you that mental well-being. We need to ensure that on our journey to financial stability, that we are maintaining the fundamental things such as our health and the relationships that we have in our life. Because when we're down and at our lowest point, these are the things that are going to keep us pushing through and help us get to the other side. Because if you're at your lowest point and your health is deteriorated and you have nobody, it's going to be harder. So again, if you are looking for community, comment down. I reply to every single comment. If you need that moral support or just to know that you're not alone in this, comment. Like, my aim is to build a community of people that are all in the same situation, that are on variable income and are looking to improve their journey or just to understand where they are. You don't even need to be at the point where you want to improve it. Maybe you just want to be in the point to have the courage to look at where you are, like what's going on, and just have that kind of back and forward or somewhere to bounce off ideas or feelings, and just know that there's going to be other people that understand what you're talking about. This is what I'm aiming to do and aiming to build. Tip number 30, the advanced cycle trap. So being on a variable income, you usually work in hospitality, retail. One thing that usually is available to us is having an advance. So an advance is where your employer will give you some money, but essentially it's your own money taken from your payday early. You will get that money on your payday, that money will be deducted. So, for example, I could be asking my employer, I need £250 because of X, Y, and Z. When I get my pay, £250 is immediately taken back because I've already had it. And yes, I've still had the 250, but I've spent it on whatever I wanted to spend it. And we can end up an advanced cycle, especially when our income is variable. If that 250 deduction lands on a low month and that can barely cover my bare minimum, I'm then having to ask for another advance just to survive the month. Or even in certain circumstances, I'm asking for more than I did last month. And then I'm just in this trap of asking for advances to cover the last advance. So, one thing that will prevent this is your buffer. And your buffer is meant to act as in placement of your advance, or a fund of money that you have that you could dip into when any shortfalls happen or when any unexpected bills. Advances shouldn't be used for lifestyle things, not to go out, not to buy tickets for somewhere. It literally should be used in emergencies, and essentially you want to get to a point where you don't need to ask for advance because you have that buffer. This is why it's so important to start building a buffer from now. Tip number 31, debt management on a variable income. Now we're back at debts again, but this is a step further than the previous tip on the first part of this video. When you're managing your debt on a variable income, you need to include your minimum debt payments in your survival number. So again, once you've understood that, and I have various videos on this, so please subscribe so you can get full breakdowns, you will understand how much you can afford to pay to each creditor, which are the people that you owe the money to. This is going to be a minimum amount, and this is affordable on your lowest possible income. When your money increases, so you have an average or a good month, you then want to prioritize, again, remember, prioritize your future self first. So pay off a little extra on your debts. So there's two ways of doing this. So you have two methods of paying off your debts, and that's the snowball method, which is where you pay the smallest amount first, which gives you the psychological win because you're paying off actual whole debts quicker. Or the avalanche method is where you pay off the highest interest first. This gives you a bigger financial gain. And once you've decided, and again, I will have videos that will go deep into this, so please subscribe. That extra money you need to commit to. So that extra amount you need to manually pay. So you would have your minimum amount come out as direct debits or standing orders, and then when you get a high month, you would have figured out and portioned out a part of that to go towards extra debt payments, and then split out depending on what method you use. I hope this is making sense. If not, comment below and I can break it down a little bit. Or if you want to see more content on anything I've spoken about, let me know below and I will make individual videos that will deep dive into the detail. You've decided how much extras go in. You're going to do that manually if, again, the creditors allow you. Some creditors don't allow you to pay more, so you need to obviously agree and negotiate that. And that's what differs from a traditional budgeting advice when it comes to your debt, because it's quite static month to month. With a variable, it will change, and it is an element of you paying via direct debit or standing order and doing a manual payment on top. Again, still doing it within the 24 to 48 hours. This is manual, so there is more likely that you might not. So the closer you do it to payday, where you feel a little bit more lifted because you've got money, it's more likely that you probably will pay it. And the whole point of this is so that you can get to pay off your debts a little bit quicker than just paying the minimum payment for the rest of the term that it takes to pay off the debt, which can take years. So we want to, again, protect your future self, and paying off debts quicker is one way of doing that. So one action to do is look at your past 6 to 12 months and pick out a high month, pick out a midpoint month, and then on both, so write them side by side. So you have your high month, your midpoint month, deduct your survival number, deduct your buffer, deduct your emergency fund, and then you'll have your lifestyle. Your lifestyle fund on your lowest month, deduct that, and then whatever's left, split an amount to your extra payment. Again, This might not make sense because it is a lot. If you want a video, please comment below and I will make it. Tip number 32, your freedom number. And I've kind of touched on this number, but given it a different name. Well, not really giving it a name, but your freedom number is essentially once everything's paid, whatever you've got left to spend on your life guilt free. This is your freedom number. And this might vary, well, this will vary when you're on a variable income. Your lifestyle choices are going to vary on a low month to a high month. So knowing this number and then even splitting it out so you have a weekly figure is even better. So you know how much you have to spend instead of going out and aimlessly spending on things that you see that takes your feeling and then ending up with no money by week number 2. So an action to take away is every time you get paid, do the calculation and on that payday actually have that figure in mind of what you can actually spend for that month. And try and aim to not spend it all. See if you can even have £10 or £5 left by your next payday, because then you're kind of being a little bit more conscious of your finances and what you're spending on, and actually showing yourself that you can manage your money a little bit better. Tip number 33, generic financial advice doesn't work for variable income. Traditional budgeting advice or generic financial advice usually assumes that someone's salary is the same. So, for example, the 50-30-20 rule splits your money into different categories depending on what you need and what you want. And having a static percentage on an income that fluctuates month to month is pretty difficult and sometimes not really realistic. And this is why I work in the reverse and look at static numbers. So your survival number, for instance, is a static number each month. That's your stability. That is where you should be working from. Your system should work from what stays the same rather than a budget that assumes your income's the same but changes and everything else in your life doesn't change. Your rent won't change, but your income does. So your rent percentage will fluctuate against the income. So one month your rent might be 30% of your income, and next month it could be 50% of your income. So things like the 50-30-20 rule is difficult to work with a variable income because there's so many moving parts. So my system focuses on the things that stay the same, and then it doesn't matter what your income does because you've got a system that is flexible and moves with your income. I hope that makes sense, and I will be making further videos on this. Tip 34, financial stress. At the beginning of my journey, financial stress, I don't even know how to describe how consuming it is. It literally takes up your whole mental space. It seeps in every part of your life, everywhere you go, everything you do. Your financial situation is just there. And it just is like a constant buzz. I guess it's not really a tip. It's just to make you understand that financial stress is a real thing, and I've experienced it, and there's many people that have experienced it, and you watching could be experiencing it right now, or you might know someone that's experiencing it. So my main thing is just look out for communities and people that are supporting those that are going through financial hardships. And like I said before in part 1, is reach out to the charities like Step Change and Citizen Advice and start speaking and getting that support you need, because it's so important that we protect our mind and protect our peace of mind. And financial stress is not something that goes away easy, and as we know, the life we're living, it's going to get more expensive, and we just need to ensure that we have a place that we can go to speak and vent and be understood by other people that are in a similar situation as us. And the final tip, tip 35, be kind to yourself. It is so hard in this day and age. It's not easy. Things don't just happen overnight. All the rich quick that you see on YouTube, all the get 10,000 in an hour, just all the videos where it claims that you get money within hours of doing nothing or click of a button, and people making it sound like it's so easy, yet you're like, why is it so hard for me then? It's because it isn't easy. It's because a lot of these people that have made it have put in years of work, have gone through the trial and errors, have done the learnings that they need to learn, have put in the consistency, have stopped the habits that was holding them back. And I'm just saying, be kind to yourself, because I was so tough on myself, and I tend to have that quality of beating myself up for not being good enough, or I should have done better, and not and forgetting to celebrate when I have done something I'm supposed to, or I have made improvements. And I'm just telling you, you need to be kind, speak kind words to yourself, don't beat yourself up, don't expect to be fine in your financial situation tomorrow, don't expect to be a millionaire tomorrow. Just set one goal at a time, and I've given you so much different tips that you can pull from, and I just want you to take one action and just start from there. Just start from there and then come back and then take another one. That's all you need to do. The fact that you're watching this video in itself means something. That means you're aware of the situation you're in, that you want to move forward. Watching the video, that's an achievement. That should be in your micro wins. That should journal that you've watched a video and that hopefully you've taken one thing away. Just be kind to yourself. You're your biggest cheerleader. Literally, you are your biggest cheerleader. You're your biggest support system. You're your biggest fan. Should be you. And I believe you can do it, because I did it, because it was difficult. It wasn't easy. And there were times where I didn't think, I was thinking, this is my life. I'm not supposed to be okay. I'm supposed to be in debt forever. I'm supposed to be bad with money forever. I'm supposed to just struggle. But it will only start changing if you change that core belief, you understand that you do deserve, that you are capable, and you be kind to yourself and become your own biggest cheerleader. And that's all the tips that I have for you. Please comment below. Let's start the conversation. If you haven't seen part one, it's right here. So go back, watch part one, and then if you want to watch part two again, feel free. And remember, stability first, real life always. And until next time, I'll see you soon.